Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daphne, and if you are new, welcome. Today I'm going to be chatting with you guys a little bit about teacher mental health and what we can do to help us get through our days as teachers. So let's get started. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is self-care. And self-care is making yourself a priority. For many teachers, the conversations are always, I can't wait for the summertime, or I can't wait for March break, because we put so much effort in meeting everyone else's needs. We tend to put our own self-care or our needs on the burner. We do not self-care enough. Making ourselves a priority, making time to meet our needs and filling up our buckets. I recently read a quote by someone by the name of Carrie Reed, and she basically defines self-care as giving the world the best you and not what is left of you. And when I read that resonated with me and many of my colleagues that I shared that quote with. The idea that we tend to give so much of ourselves, our time, we're our go, 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 thinking of what can we do next. Not enough about pausing to breathe, setting a schedule for ourselves to rejuvenate and fill up our own buckets. Now, this can vary among individuals, and what self-care looks like for one person might be very different to another person. So some examples that I came across when talking about this with other colleagues were as simple as going for a walk, taking up a hobby that you enjoy doing, not related to teaching, a book on a topic that interests you, riding your bike when you can and get outside. Gardening is huge. These are all things that you can schedule in and set a priority for yourself to meet on a daily basis. It doesn't have to take a lot. It can be as short as a 10-minute or a half an hour, as long as you get some self-care time daily, and that will prevent any burnout or any resentfulness that you might have that you don't have time for yourself. And by doing this, then you will be more energized and able to give more of yourself and be a better version of yourself. Tip number 2 is surrounding yourself with supportive and positive people. Surrounding yourself with positive people can make such a huge difference on your mental health. You need to remember to seek people that will be there for you, that you can go to and be your authentic self. It's important to seek people that will be honest with you, that will come to the table with suggestions and strategies and not with a negative tone. This can be huge in teaching, because teaching, you're walking into every day with the possibility of something happening, or your lessons might not be going the way that you've planned, or your students not having a great day. So having support and a tribe of people where you can go to and chat with and be vulnerable in what's going on is huge in your mental health. Being able to create your tribe of supportive people that you can go to at any moment and share with them what's going on and ask for suggestions or strategies is so important in teaching, because teaching is all about thinking outside the box. It's about creating an environment for your students where they will thrive. And a lot of times that involves creative thinking and also being able to say, this is not working out, I need to try something new. And by you having a supportive network, group of colleagues you can go to share your downfalls or things that might not be going so well, can be so uplifting and encouraging for you as a teacher, instead of feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, and defeated. So pick your people wisely, pick those that are there for you and where you can go to be authentic and be honest with, and where you can be given the opportunity to grow and try new things through suggestions and brainstorming with others. So the third tip is time management and unplugging. For many teachers, this can be very difficult. There seems to be always the moment of thinking of what you're going to do next, or how can you improve your lesson, or what can I do to engage my students, which all is very good and fine, but it's important to practice time managing and to be able to separate your career from your life. It is very common practice for teachers to be at school well before the bell in the morning and well after the bell rings after school. They spend a lot of time organizing and planning and marking, and it is important to set time aside for yourself. A time where you are going to unplug yourself from your responsibilities of your career. I heard a really interesting time frame recently that said no matter what career you're in, you should unplug 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. and not feel guilty doing that. That doesn't mean you're not going to read notifications that might come in, but the whole idea of responding and corresponding after the hours of work time is so important. Making time for yourself and spending time with family as a teacher is just as important to being a great teacher. And I have found that when you're able to balance both your professional life with your personal life, you're able to bring so much more to your career because you are able to come with a fresher outlook, with a different lens, and fresher in general. You are not overwhelmed. I know so many teachers that mark well into the hours of the morning, trying to get all their marking done or trying to figure out what their units are going to unfold like. It is so important as educators that we realize that we need enough sleep. We need 8 hours of sleep. We need to make sure we are exercising and that we are eating healthy. And by doing that and being able to unplug and take care of ourselves, then we are more equipped to being the best educator on any given day. And by creating a time management where you have set goals, this will allow you to prioritize and realize that tomorrow is another day. So if you don't get through something that you have to do today, then tomorrow is another day that you can go and tackle it and finish it. So not feeling guilty about not getting everything done. A veteran teacher once told me at the beginning of my career that teaching is a career that you'd never finish, that you can pretty much find something to improve on or to research or to add into your units constantly. So it is important to understand that you have a time frame, and when that time comes during the day, that you unplug, that you take that moment, that you respect yourself enough to say to yourself, I've given 100% today, and now it's time to give myself 100%. By doing that, you are creating healthy boundaries on what a healthy career / healthy life looks like for you to be able to sustain it for the years ahead. Because the last thing you want is to burn out and not be able to stay in a career that hopefully you selected because you have passion and you love working with children. So setting boundaries, creating a time schedule to encourage you to give back to yourself can not only improve the quality of work that you do on a daily basis in your career, but also the quality of life that you can live on a daily basis. So set those timers, stick by them, and enjoy the time that you have outside of your career and build on that, because at the end of the day, that is important. It is important to be a whole person in more than just one area of your life. Balance is key, and balance is where it's at, because balance makes you a healthier, well-rounded person in general. Tip number 4 is creating a resource bank. And what do I mean by that is creating a bank of resources for you to be able to access at any given time. Many teachers' mental health comes around not having the resources. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of teachers are given a classroom with desks and chairs and computers and technology, but many teachers come to their career with nothing. Overall, a lot of people don't realize this, but teachers create their resources. Teachers come and they buy resources. And I remember at the beginning of my career, I spent thousands of dollars on resources to ensure that my students had resources in the classroom. Yes, there is a budget and we do get budgets, but you ask any teacher, we are spending our own money and we are purchasing things to help us teach and engage our students to make their learning more interesting or more engaging on a daily basis. So creating that resource bank is probably one of the biggest tips I would give new teachers or teachers in general, to allow them not to feel overwhelmed or stressed and take a toll on their mental health. Building a resource bank with other teachers where you can create folders, where you can put resources inside those folders digitally and you can access at any time, can definitely change the level of anxiety teachers might feel or the level of stress that goes along with being able to create unit plans and lesson plans for their students. The other thing is teacher candidates introduced me to this, and they would go around with their phones and take snippets, teachers' work that they have done with their students, their art galleries or their bulletin boards was huge. Now, of course, I've mentioned this before in my videos, you got to be really mindful and ask before you start, snapping away with your iPhones. But that is definitely a fantastic way to build resources and to take ideas that other teachers have already done and place them into folders for you to reference later on. Building a resource where you can go to can definitely be a game changer, especially when you are being switched grades. Many teachers throughout their careers have taught various grades. As far as myself, I've taught everything from kindergarten to grade 9. So, imagine all the resources that I've had to accumulate over the years, or I've had to reach out to other colleagues to help me. So having the opportunities to create resources with other teachers and putting several minds to work is so helpful with your mental health, and not being so stressed out and being able to accumulate all the resources can be a real game changer in how you go about with your planning, and being able to just gather resources for the grade that you're teaching yearly can make such a huge impact in your approach of how you're going to teach something and just not feel so overwhelmed you're teaching. So build those resources, ask colleagues to share with you and you share with them, and come to the table with your own resources, so that way it's not a take, instead of it's a give and take. And most teachers, they are very giving and they are very supportive of other teachers and other colleagues, and they are often very open to sharing and helping each other, because they know what a difficult career it is and how difficult, truthfully, it is to gather resources for your units and for your teaching. So reach out, make connections with other teachers, and don't be scared to ask for help and resources, because one day the tables might be turned and that same teacher that helped you might be asking you for help. So remember, be positive and don't be scared to reach out and ask for help. Tip number 5, being able to manage your stress. Learning to recognize the signs of stress and how your body reacts to stress is huge. When this happens, find ways to place calmness back into your life. This can be as simple as learning breathing exercises, going to the gym, being able to recognize when things are just becoming overwhelming for you, and to zone in and recognize what are you going to do about it. Being able to be honest with yourself and communicate with yourself when things aren't going really that great is huge. And being able to recognize the levels of stress that you might be experiencing can definitely make a difference in how you react to any given situation. Taking breaks are healthy, and knowing when to take a break is even more important. At times as teachers, we feel, and we take way too much on at any given time. And talking to many of my colleagues, sometimes they feel guilty and they can't say no, and they just want to please, please, please. So one great strategy that someone taught me on how to deal with this, to allow yourself time to really think about what you're being asked to do so that your stress level doesn't go up and increase, is when someone is asking you to do something, a polite way to say to them is, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. Another great way to kind of allow yourself time to think about something if you're being asked something is, let me do some more research about that and let me get back to you. By saying that sentence, you're not saying to them, no, I'm not interested, I don't want to have anything to do with it. You're basically politely saying, I am interested, but I just need a little bit of time to really digest it and see if I'm really interested in doing this, and more importantly, if I have the time to really commit to it. And I think that's where a lot of stress happens, is they're kind of caught off guard and they're asked to do things like when they're walking down the hallway or they're walking to their classroom, they're asked these requests, and we don't want to disappoint. We want to be the good colleague, or we want to show that we want to support our colleagues in our school. And when that happens and is taken over and you automatically say, sure, okay, I'll do that, or I'm on board, when in reality, you didn't really think about all the details, or you didn't think about all the time that you would have to spend doing something, and if you're actually able to do that effectively. So being able to recognize stress level and being able to politely say, let me get back to you, can be a huge stress management tool that you can give yourself to allow yourself time when you can really sit down and really analyze what you're being asked, so you can make sure that you can commit and that it doesn't only serve them, it also will serve you in some extent. So knowing your stressors, knowing how to recognize what stresses you out, and then be able to implement strategies to help you deal with your stressors are huge. Take the time to recognize what makes you happy, what stresses you out, and what helps you get over feeling stress is a great strategy for you to apply not only during at work, but also outside of work. So the 6th strategy is one that is very difficult for many individuals. And that is when your mental health or your stress has gotten out of control. That is when you recognize that you are hanging on by a thread and you are exhausted and you are overwhelmed and you're pretty much at the end of not knowing if you're gonna make it. It's a Tuesday and you don't know if you're gonna make it by Friday. So being able to recognize that and be able to reach out and get the support for your well-being and your mental health is huge. Sometimes it is as easy as taking a day off work and just re-energizing and not doing anything related to work and just focusing on you is a strategy that is so needed in many careers, not only in teaching. Teaching is an incredible, demanding career, and the teachers that I personally know are the most hardworking individuals, giving every single day. You have to be able to say when your limit is, and sometimes it's okay to give permission to yourself to say that I just need a break. I just need a day off. I need to take a mental health day to focus on me, and that it's okay if you need to go talk to someone. It's okay to reach out to those resources to help you figure out what is going on. Like, why do you feel so stressed out, or why do you feel so overwhelmed? Can be so many different factors that can put someone in that situation to begin with. So feeling comfortable and feeling that it's okay to say to yourself, I've done my best, and now I need the support. I need to reach out. I need to figure this out. And that can be as simple as taking a day off and just taking it easy and just recharging and being able to just get the things done that might be stressing you out, that you haven't been able to get to. For a lot of careers and a lot of teachers in general, going to doctor appointments, going to the dentist, or going to their physiotherapy appointments, all those services, sometimes a lot of teachers don't even get to those appointments because they feel so guilty for taking a day off here and there. And it's important that you do it. You want to be strong and healthy, and you need to realize that your health comes first. Once you have your health under control and your bucket is full, then you can pretty much meet any demand that comes your way, i.e. being a demand, through your teaching, or a demand through your own personal life that you might be tackling. It's important to give yourself permission to say to yourself, I've done A, B, C, D, and now I need to take a day off, or I need to go talk to someone, or I need to seek some support. Okay to say you need it. Recognizing that, and recognizing that your mental health is a priority, and by doing that, that will help you be a better teacher in the end. Thing that can only work for you and not against you. And don't worry what other people say, because they're not you. And I know that is another factor. And it's time to change that narrative. I'm guilty about what everyone says or what they think, because they don't know everything, and they might not know everything that's going on. So take the time that you need, take a break, refuel, and get yourself back to a healthier state, so that when you're teaching, you're the best version of yourself, and that way you can give the best version of yourself to your students so they can thrive and do well. So those are my 6 tips on how teachers can tackle their mental health, focus on themselves, and be a better version of themselves. Until next time, hit the like button and subscribe, and keep on teaching.